Hi, Facebook live stream viewers. We are delighted to have you here. You're backstage at Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And we're about to start our show in just a few minutes. But I'm glad you're with us because we will be checking in with Carson Caldwell today to find out where in the country is Carson and see how that journey is going. For any of you who aren't familiar with who Carson Caldwell is, he is the young man we interviewed last week who is riding a bike barefoot across the country in order to raise money for the starving children of Yemen. So you don't want to miss that segment. He'll be coming up shortly. So in just a moment, we will begin our show. Thanks for being with us.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do?
Change it up. Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Hello. Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so glad you're joining me today because we're going to be playing a little different game today. I'm calling this show Nothing But Paula. And I'm not saying that in any condescending way because as those of you know who are regular listeners to this show, normally I have a guest that I'm featuring on the show. But lately, what has happened is I've received a lot of calls and emails from people telling me different aspects of the show that they really like and also asking some questions. So I have decided today that I am going to indulge myself in answering a lot of those questions, sharing one of my favorite energy psychology tools for clearing, also an author. The author of this book, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And my latest book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And also my first book, Chakras, the Magnificent Seven. I also have a private practice in Encinitas here in San Diego County. And I'm a life transitions therapist. So my work is really about helping people deal with change, helping them deal with the upheaval of it, the discomfort of it, and sometimes the confusion of it. And in that work, a lot of what I like to use, if my clients are open to it, are the tools of energy psychology. And energy psychology, we're very, very clear that everything is energy and that by doing processes that help us shift our energy and not just talking, we can actually move people through problematic issues much more rapidly. And I'll be showing you in our third segment today one of my favorite tools from that field of energy psychology that I use in my practice all the time. Now, to begin today, I would like to talk a little bit about a show that we did a couple of weeks ago. And we were interviewing in that show Jill Schwartz, who is a patient advocate. Little did I know how much that woman was going to become very, very important in my life. Because as you may recall, that show, which we called The Many Roads to Dementia, one of the goals I had in that show was to inform my listeners not only about the fact that dementia can be created by many things. It can be a result of certain drugs. Steroids are particularly problematic. Anesthesia can bring on early dementia. And sometimes there's just sudden onset dementia. this issue is not one that you usually expect to affect your life. We certainly didn't. My sister, who's only a couple of years older than I am, suddenly started talking in a bizarre way and forgetting things, and the conversation just got more and more confusing. And we ended up having to hospitalize her, to take her to the ER, because she was falling, she was unable to focus, she was unable to answer a question succinctly. She was still very sharp in a lot of ways. She knew the date, she knew her birthday, she knew who everybody was. So it wasn't that kind of thing. But it was very upsetting and very unexpected for the family. So this issue kind of came out of the blue and really caught us unprepared. And I realized that probably a lot of families are unprepared. And so I brought Jill Swartz on the show because she's a patient advocate. She has a business called Elder Care Concierge. And I'm telling you, if you get in a situation where your family is dealing with insurance, dealing with hospitals, dealing with unexpected illness and confusing circumstances, this is the woman you want on your team. And I will be giving you her contact information again because I felt she's been such a blessing for us. Jill, one of the things she taught us in that show, you may remember, is that if you have a loved one in the hospital and the hospital wants to release them, but you don't feel that your loved one is ready, or you haven't arranged a good facility, a good skilled nursing care facility to transfer your loved one to, you can challenge the discharge. And you will get usually another 4 days to find that right place so that your loved one can be transferred to a place where the care is good and where they'll be comfortable and happy. We didn't know that on our first go-round, and so my sister was released before she really should have been, and my family had no time to look for a proper facility. Consequently, the one that she went to, she was very unhappy in, and it was not working well. And my parents eventually felt they had to pull her out of there because she was so unhappy. Well, that can lead to a lot of complications with your insurance and with getting somebody into another place. So you have to understand it's much better to transfer from facility to facility than it is to take someone home and then try and get them into another facility. So beware of that. But thanks to Jill, thanks to what we shared on that show, my family just went through the same scenario again last week. But this time, my parents knew what to do, and they challenged the discharge. They just flat out said, we don't think she's ready, and we need time to find the right place for her to go to. And they got it. And fortunately, this worked so well that my parents were able to find a place they feel really comfortable with, where my sister will be going and where she will be comfortable and happy and well cared for. That scenario alone lights up my heart. That scenario alone makes having done that show 2 weeks ago so exciting for me, because I know if it helped me and helped my family, others of you out there are helped too. And that's my whole goal. There's so much we don't understand about hospital rules, about procedures, about insurance. And I was also worried that since they had taken her out, that maybe the insurance wouldn't cover trying to get her into another place. And so Roshanak Kloon, who's also been on the show, she's an insurance specialist and especially good with Medicare. That's Kloon Insurance you want to talk to if you get in trouble there. She helped me understand the insurance situation, so we knew that we could get my sister into a good place and she would have insurance coverage. So before I go on, I want to give you Jill Swartz's contact information in case you need a patient advocate. If you don't understand the system, and most of us don't, you want this woman on your side. So Jill can be reached at 619-778-0310. 619-778-0310. Or her website is eldercare-concierge, concierge.com. And if you put in after that, plan tomorrow today, that website will come up first in the Google search. eldercareconcierge.com. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for helping us so much. We're not totally out of the woods yet, but we're so glad you're on our team. And now one other thing I want to also bring you up to speed on from a former show that we did is that you may remember we interviewed Bobby Brink, who has a sanctuary here in San Diego County out in Alpine called Lions, Tigers, and Bears. And last week, my daughter Erin and I had the privilege and the blessing of being able to go out and experience lions, tigers, and bears. And all I can say is, oh my, I had to work that in. It is an amazing facility. The animals, and these are all animals who were being abused in other situations. The problem is, you may remember from the show we did, people get them as pets when they're small and cute, and then they grow up. Lions, tigers, literally, and bears, leopards, all these different exotic wild animals that do not make good pets. So remember that, everybody. Even if they're cute when they're small, and even if you have them from the time they're cubs, you cannot domesticate a wild animal. So Bobby Brink has driven all over the country and flown all over the world rescuing animals who people didn't know what to do with once they got bigger and realized they were wild. And oftentimes they're in absolutely inhumane situations. And it's just awful what has been done to these animals. And Bobby has made it her life's work to go and rescue them and bring them back. And this facility is beautiful. It's in the green hills of Alpine. The animals have these beautiful outdoor habitats. They move them around from habitat to habitat so they don't get bored, they don't get depressed like we so often see with animals in the zoo. It is such a blessing to see what has been done out there. They're beautifully fed. They have medical care. The habitats have water areas. We even saw tigers, a white tiger and called Nola, and a yellow tiger called Mocha, who are a couple that live together there, and they were playing in the pool and playing with big balls and things. It was so wonderful. It wasn't a show. They were just doing it naturally. So please put on your list of things that you really want to do. Going out to Alpine in San Diego County and seeing and visiting lions, tigers, and bears. Now you have to go online and make your reservation because it's not just a walk-in kind of thing. So you can, I believe it's lionstigersandbears.org is where you can go to make those reservations. Treat yourselves and go on that website and donate because it costs a lot of money to take care of these animals. And Lions, Tigers, and Bears is surviving on the donations of generous people who care about animals. All right, in our next segment, we are going to be catching up with Carson Caldwell. We'll be finding out where in the country is Carson, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Sherry Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Sherry Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw. And after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking and we're being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And the moment we've been waiting for has come. It's time to find out where in the country is Carson. Carson Caldwell, by the way, for any of you who weren't with us last week, is a, excuse me, suddenly my voice just disappeared. He is a young man who is riding a bike across the United States. He started in Philadelphia and he intends to end up in Santa Monica. He's riding that bike barefoot in order to raise money to feed the starving children in Yemen. So I think it's a pretty noble mission, and he's a very special guy. So I can't wait to introduce you to Carson Caldwell. Hey, Carson, are you there?
Yes, Paula, I'm here. How are you?
I'm just fine. The question is, how are you and where are you?
Oh, well, I'm doing great. My feet are holding up just fine. I'm actually right now in Roanoke, Virginia, on my way to a small town called Blacksburg, Virginia.
Okay, so how many miles have you gone so far, Carson?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's at least 400, probably closer to 450.
Wow, and this is just a little over a week, right?
Yeah, I think today's either the 10th or 11th day. I should probably know. I think it's the 11th day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know you left on the 29th of June. That was a Saturday. So this past Saturday would have been 1 week, and now we're 3 days later. So, yeah, it sounds like about 10 days. So, Carson, for those audience listeners here who were not with us last week, can you briefly tell them why you decided to do this and who you're doing it for?
Sure. Yeah. Well, a couple of months ago, I was just reading online about, current events, and I came across some really unfortunate news, and I learned about the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, where approximately 22 million people are in urgent need of humanitarian aid. And about 8 million people are starving. And in the last 3 years, about 85,000 children under the age of 5 have starved to death.
Oh.
So these statistics really sort of affected me. And it kind of became a personal mission of mine to try to have some sort of positive impact for people in Yemen. And so I'm working with a charity right now called Beit al-Mal. That's a highly rated charity that was recommended by the New York Times as a charity that's doing a lot of really great work in Yemen today. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to them and told them that I wanted to do a cross-country bike ride in an effort to raise awareness for the humanitarian crisis in Yemen. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And the campaign that I'm participating in is called #BikeForYemen. And people can find out more about what I'm doing at bikeforyemen.org, or on Facebook they can look up #BikeForYemen. That's bike, the number 4, Yemen.
Okay, bike for, numeral 4, Yemen. And the hashtag bike for Yemen. That's on Facebook, correct?
Yep, that's on Facebook.
And then the website again that they can go to is it bikeforyemen.org?
Yep, same thing, and the number 4, yep.
Okay, fabulous. So tell me, have you talked to your mom and dad?
Oh yeah, I've been keeping in contact with them every single day, kind of giving them calls and saying hello and keeping them in touch, keeping them up to date with my adventures and my challenges and stuff like that. And it's always great to check in with them because I know that they're supporting me, and that really provides a sense of security and boosts my morale.
Absolutely. And as a parent, it's critical to hear from your child every day when they're out on this kind of an adventure. So I'm happy to hear that you're doing that, Carson. For all the mothers that are listening to this show, we say thank you, Carson.
You're welcome.
So I want to ask you, what are you loving about the experience so far? And what maybe is harder than you expected?
Well, I'm really liking the intense exercise that I'm getting because I'm probably riding my bike for a minimum of about 6 hours a day, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but I'm acclimating pretty well to it, and I'm actually enjoying the heat. I enjoy the humidity. It makes me sweat a lot more, but sweating is great for, just like a detox and, just to filter the body. So I'm really enjoying the exercise part of it. I'm also really enjoying seeing all these places that I would not have seen had I not undertaken a trip like this. For instance, in the last 3 days, I was biking through the Appalachian Mountains near Shenandoah, and those hills were pretty intense, and I probably did around 7,000 to 8,000 feet of climbing, which was pretty intense. But the views, the vistas, and the people were just amazing, and I got a lot of great footage on my little GoPro helmet camera. So when the trip is all said and done, I'll have a nice amount of footage to put together, hopefully for maybe a small documentary.
Oh, I love that idea. So you've got a camera on your helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrific. So are people, my hope was that all of the efforts that, and I know I'm not the only media person that is talking about you. You've been doing other shows as well, which is very exciting. So people are starting to know who you are when you arrive. When they see you, they know who you are. Is that right?
To an extent. I think there's still a lot of room to grow for this event. But I've been doing. So this morning I had 2 interviews with local news stations. So I've been kind of steadily doing interviews like that.
Good.
And the communications director of the charity is just doing a stellar job of communicating with these media outlets in advance for these for in the cities that I'll be riding through. So it's been a real pleasure to do those interviews and to help raise awareness and promote the Bike for Yemen campaign.
Yes, yes. And again, if people want to donate to the campaign, where do they go? What's the best way for them to do that?
The place to go is bikeforyemen.org, and that's bike, the number 4, yemen.org.
Okay, the website we were talking about a little earlier. So one of the things I'm also dying to ask you, because as you know, LifeWave is the sponsor of my show, And they're also a company who makes these phototherapy patches that I wear every day of my life. And I understand you're wearing my favorite new patch, the X39. So what are you experiencing, or are you noticing anything? I'm not sure if someone as young and fit as you would even notice a difference. So tell us, what's it like?
It's actually quite the opposite. I'm noticing a huge difference with my recovery times. So the way that I use the X39 is I basically put it on at the end of the day and sleep with it at night. And I notice that when I wake up the next morning, I have very little fatigue, and it's almost as if I've had like an extra day of recovery, even though I've been writing very hard just the previous day. So I actually have not yet taken a day off to rest because I'm simply not really that tired, and I think I can attribute that directly to the X39. And I feel like if I didn't have the X39, I probably would have had to take a couple days off just to recuperate. But that X39 is also my favorite patch, and it's a very special thing what it does.
It is, and it does it without drugs or chemicals, and that's one of the best parts, right? Because especially a young person like you, or even a person a little down the road of life like me, we don't want to be putting any extra drugs or chemicals into our body. So the fact that it's doing what it does naturally, I think, is the biggest bonus of all.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, the technology behind it. And the inventor, David Schmidt, is just an extremely talented individual who has a large repertoire of inventions. And I think the X39 is one of his best to date. And, the difference that I notice when I'm using it and when I'm not using it is very distinct. And I'm very grateful to know about LifeWave and to have access to the X39.
Well, that is just delightful for me to hear, because so many of the people that I know that are using the patch are people in my age range, or even, younger, in their 40s and that kind of thing. But you are actually the first young person and young athlete that I've talked to who's used it. And it's exciting to hear that even at your age, there are profound results. So that makes me really happy. I've shared with the audience, and David's been a guest on this show also, and he'll be back very soon. Right now he's in Ireland, but he's one of my most popular guests because I think everybody is intrigued by this phototherapy technology, and he's such a good guy, isn't he? He's just a really good guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody, no matter what age, can benefit from the X39 in some way. And now, I don't really know about like young children, but I think I heard you mention that maybe last week on your show that I think you had a young relative who wasn't in the greatest mood or was maybe feeling a little sick.
She was a little sick. Yeah, she was getting sick. And we put that patch on her.
Yeah, and that's fascinating. I mean, to think that the X39 is effective for basically all ages. It's really, really quite fascinating technology.
I think it's sort of like a first aid kit. You just have to have it around. By the way, I wanted to tell you, Carson, this hit me this morning when I was getting ready. Should anything happen where you have any kind of little accident, I mean, we don't want that, but, things happen. I have fallen on my knee and really hit it hard on tile and dropped a heavy suitcase on my toe. And I put the patch right on the pain place. And I'm not kidding. By the time morning came, there was no pain. So remember, you've got a little first aid kit with you as well.
Oh, I think it's even better than a first aid kit. I mean, we live in a very interesting time, and I believe the future is now. With this type of technology, it's really quite revolutionary.
Oh,
in my opinion.
Yes. Hey, Carson, will you check in with me again next week, because we want to know what's happening with you as you go along this journey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to talk to you next week.
Okay, cool. Well, then we will look forward next week to finding out where in the country is Carson. And in the meantime, you take care and safe travels.
Well, thank you very much, Paula, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, me too. Take care. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Sometimes life throws you a curve. It can be a health scare, divorce, loss of a job, or death of a loved one. And big changes can make you feel stressed out and anxious, depressed, or unable to sleep. Nothing feels comfortable or safe. And that's a tough place to be. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk it over with? Someone who understands why you feel the way you do and knows how to help. Paula Shaw is a life transitions counselor, an expert therapist that can help you deal with unwanted destabilizing change or disruption in your life. Using a variety of mind-body techniques and psychology processes, she helps identify the key issues, eliminating self-sabotage and doubt to get you rapid results. Paula Shaw Counseling is open to all people, all ages, and all walks of life. Big life changes can be tough. Paula Shaw can help you get through it. Call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234. 858-480-9234.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire consulting firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. I am Paula Shaw, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. I'm actually calling this show Nothing But Paula today, except we did have Carson, but Carson's going to be checking in with us regularly as he journeys across America working for starving children. You heard him say over 85,000 children under the age of 5 have starved already. So go to Bike for Yemen, that's bike numeral 4, yemen.org, and donate. He was explaining to us last week, even $5 goes so far with the aid they're providing. And by the way, Batumal, the charity he's working with, last week we talked about this in depth, but it's a very good charity, and they are able to actually get into Yemen, and this huge percentage, up in the 90th percentile of the money that they raise goes to the people who need it. There's no big administrative overhead with this group. The money is going where you want it to go. So if you're feeling called to help Carson, and we certainly are here at Change It Up Radio, then please go to bike numeral 4 yemen.org. Now, in this segment, I get to do something I've been wanting to do for a long time. In my practice, as I've mentioned to you, I work with the tools of energy psychology. So what that means is that we don't just do talk therapy. We do processes that actually help us shift the energy, because everything is energy. So your hair is energy, your skin is energy, your feelings are energy, and your thoughts are energy. And so what we have found is that if we can find methods that bypass the conscious mind, which is, by the way, only 5% of your mind functioning, and they go right to working with the subconscious, which is 95% of your mind functioning, and really where our problematic patterns and thoughts live, then we can help people change much more rapidly. So today, I want to share a method with you called PEP. It stands for something very long, like psychoanalytic energy psychology. And it was created by Phil Molan, Dr. Phil Molan in London, who is an incredible man and a real gentleman, and I'm proud to say a friend of mine. Well, Dr. Phil Molan introduced this method at one of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology conferences several years back, and I loved it. I love it because it's simple. When people work with me, I try to give them tools to go, tools they can take with them and use easily, so they're not just dependent on work with me when problematic times come along. And so this method that Dr. Phil Molan created, I find to be wonderful. So what we know is that we all can get triggered by certain things in life. It can be an event, it can be something you heard, it can be a sight, it can be a smell. Different things can trigger us and bring up emotional reactions. And when those emotions are strong, one of the worst parts is that we can feel helpless and unable to control the impact of those emotions on us, on our life, on our day, on what we're doing. And this particular method is so simple that I'm actually going to invite you to do it with me. So I want to give you a few examples of those kinds of experiences that I was just describing that can trigger us. So let's say, for example, you're frustrated and angry because you feel like your mate never participates fully when there are problems with the children, that it's all laid on your shoulders. Maybe that's one of those experiences. Or maybe it seems like your mother always has something critical to say about you, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to do it right. Or maybe your parents just don't understand who you are, and they keep trying to persuade you to go into a different kind of work, or dress differently, or hang out with different kind of people. And in time that becomes frustrating and it becomes angering because they're not seeing you. And so you get triggered by it. So I want you to all take a minute. Think of some issue in your life. It could be an ongoing issue, or it could be something that just happened yesterday that's triggering you, that's making you feel some kind of intense emotional reaction. Okay? I hope everybody's got one. And now all you do, you very simply cross your hands over the upper chest, and your fingers are going to go right here in front of your armpit. In fact, you can be sure you're in the right place. If you raise your elbows, you'll feel a bit of a hollow right there. Those are the lung alarm points in Chinese acupuncture, and they're very powerful points. Now remember, points, it's actually impacting them, kind of like it would if I were an acupuncturist and I were putting needles into the points to stimulate them. The electricity from my fingers is also stimulating them. So now, while I'm holding these points, I'm going to, and I want to just be sure that I give you the correct words while we're together here. So the first thing you're going to say is, I release, and then say whatever it is you're releasing. My frustration and anger at my husband because he never helps with the children's problems, or my frustration and anger with my mother because she always seems to be so critical, or, my hurt and my fear that my parents are never going to get me and it's always going to affect our relationship. So whatever it is that you feel you need to release, just say that now while you're holding these lung alarm points, and breathe deeply and evenly, just holding those points. You can close your eyes if you like to. I like to. And then as you hold those points, we're going to add 2 other pieces. And by the way, we'll make sure that this method is in the show notes so that you can have access to it. So the next thing you're going to say is releasing all the thoughts and energy fields including all the roots and origins that are holding this problem or issue or feeling or behavior, whatever it is, holding it in place. So releasing all the thoughts and energy fields, roots and origins that are holding this problem in place, and continue to just hold these points as you see me doing here. And for those of you who are just listening on radio, these points are, as I said, in front of your armpits. And you can feel the hollow there if you lift your elbows once you have your fingers there with your hands crossed over the upper chest. And now this is a piece that's actually from another method that Dr. Phil Mullen created, but I like to add it to this one as well. So now I say, I command all the particles and waves of energy that have aligned to create this thought or this feeling or this behavior, whatever it is I'm releasing. I command all those particles and waves of energy to desynchronize, to go out of phase and into complete entropy. That's basically telling all those particles and waves of energy to dissolve, to fall apart, to break apart, to disintegrate. Because if they're not together, if they're not coalesced into form, then the whole issue just sort of dissolves. So again, I command all the particles and waves of energy that have aligned to create this feeling, this emotion, this anger, this frustration. I command them to desynchronize, to go out of phase and into complete entropy. And then you just continue to hold the points and breathe. And I usually do that until I feel a kind of a shift. Sometimes I feel like a calm come over me. Sometimes I feel like I can just breathe better, or I actually can take a deep breath that I couldn't take before. And then the final phase of using this release method is to just go to a positive thought, a positive feeling. So, for example, if I was frustrated, I might just say to myself, I am now at ease and not triggered by or untriggered by my mother's criticisms. I know she's just being herself. She's just being who she is. It's not about me. So I think those positive thoughts, and maybe I even identify what I call a repatterning statement, which is basically a statement like, I'm at ease with everything my mother does. I believe my husband is doing the best he can with the children, and I'm happy to be his partner. So you see, you're replacing that negative with something positive, but first you had to release the negative. Sometimes we start using positive affirmations in a situation, but we haven't removed the negative piece. So we need something to remove or release the negative piece first, then bring in the repatterning statements or the positive affirmations, and you can create real change. That's PEP we've just experienced together. I hope you felt a shift. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and contact me. But it's truly one of my favorites. And in just a moment, when we come right back, we'll be answering some emails. So stay with us.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
Hi, Paula Shaw here. I'm so delighted to share with you that LifeWave has become our newest sponsor on Change It Up Radio. My family and I all use their tiny wearable patch technology, and the results are life-changing. My sister had lupus for over 20 years and has never slept well. Now she does. My mom's frozen shoulders simply went away. My favorite is the age-reversing X39, a patch engineered to activate stem cells. Yeah, it's true. They really work to improve how you look, feel, perform, and heal. LifeWave patches use a patented form of phototherapy using frequencies of light to safely boost health and wellness at the cellular level with no drugs. Learn more online by visiting lifewave.com. That's lifewave.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Thanks for being with us. And we, in this segment, are going to answer some emails that come from you and hopefully help some of our listeners. Todd, do we have some emails today? Are we ready?
Yes, we are ready. We've got a couple emails here.
Okay.
The first one reads, Dear Paula, I'm trying desperately to get my teenage son to open up and talk to me about some of the things that are going on at school that I can see are stressing him and making him withdraw. But every time I ask him what's going on, he says nothing. I ask him if he wants to talk, and he says no. I don't know what to do. I know he needs to express his feelings, but don't know how to make him feel safe enough to do that. What would you do? Signed, Lorraine.
Lorraine, being the mother of two, a boy and a girl, I can tell you that situation you just described is very familiar. And I'm sure that a lot of our listeners out there are relating right now, because one of the toughest things when we have teenagers is trying to get them to open up and tell us what's bothering them. And it is a tough time of life. Hormones are raging, peer pressure is raging. There's so much going on. Studies may be going well or may not be going well. And a lot of our teenagers today really feel overwhelmed with all the things they have to do. Sometimes I think it was simpler when I was young and nobody had a daytimer. Nobody had some class or some lesson scheduled every day after school. We did our homework and we played. And I think sometimes it's too bad that our children are so committed to so many different things that they don't have enough just chill time. So yes, your child does need to talk about their feelings, but sometimes opening that door is tough. But here's a little method that I have used time and time again, and I often recommend it to clients because I find it to be very successful. Sometimes part of the problem is our children don't want to open up because they haven't lived life nearly as long as we have, and so they think they're the only one feeling what they're feeling. If they're lucky and they have a friend that they can really open up to, then they may realize other kids are feeling those same feelings. But if they're being very closed-mouthed, and I was one of those kids who often, my deepest, darkest hurts, I didn't share with anybody. And so you think you're the only one, or you really believe you're either bad or you're dumb or whatever it is that's perplexing you. So what I've done with my children, and what I also recommend to parents, is you might say to them, do you want to talk about what happened at school? And if they say no, then say, I know sometimes it's really hard to talk about things going on. I remember when I was your age, I had a situation that was going on at school, and then tell a story about something that happened to you. And if you happen to have any insight about what's happening with your child, like let's say or you've heard that your child's being bullied, then tell a story about when you were bullied or some kind of circumstance that's sort of similar. Because this is going to do two things. A, you're role modeling, expressing your pain and your truth and telling your story. And B, you're opening the door, you're giving an invitation to put your child in a more comfortable situation to go ahead and share what's going on with them. So I think sometimes we just have to open that door and let them know, oh, that happened to me too. Or if your daughter is agonizing because her boyfriend's just broken up with her, maybe you just walk over or sit down with her on the sofa and snuggle her and say, I remember the first time a boyfriend broke up with me. And tell your story, tell your truth. Be emotional if emotion is real for you. If you remember some of the hardest parts, like telling your girlfriends or feeling like something was wrong with you and that's why you broke up, share that stuff. Share the hard parts so they realize they're not the only ones going through this kind of distress. And once you open that door, it's so much easier to open it again and to then develop a new kind of rapport with your child. I hope that helps, Lorraine. It certainly worked well for me. All right, Todd, do we have another one?
Yes, we do. This one reads, Dear Paula, I recently realized that a friend of mine that I have known for years is toxic for me. Maybe she was always toxic, and I just didn't see it. But now it's very clear to me. We have known each other for over 15 years, and a part of me doesn't want to throw that away. Yet another part of me is clear that she doesn't accept me for who I am and is always telling me what to do, like I don't have a live brain cell in my head. Is it me? Do I need to change, or is it time for this friendship to end? Signed, Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, this is a juicy one because sometimes the difficult people in our life are really the ones that teach us the most and help us develop the most character. Now, is it fun? Absolutely not. But sometimes the people who we find challenging or even toxic are helping us to gain strength, helping us to do more introspection, helping us to get clearer about who we are and what our boundaries are. So on the one hand, this friend can be really valuable in your life if you see that the issues she's triggering in you are issues that you actually do need to work with. So that can be a true blessing. I remember something Joan Borisenko said once about how after years of a contentious relationship with her mother, she realized in the moment of her mother's death that she had been the person in her life who loved her most and did the most for Joan. And the reason was because Joan realized that her mother provided the resistance against which she had to push to become the strong person that she was. So perhaps your friend is providing that for you. However, there's another side of this coin, and that is that sometimes, yes, we do outgrow people, or we outgrow something that we were tolerating for a long time that we shouldn't have tolerated. So, yes, you may have grown to a place where you now realize that you want to be treated a certain way, that you respect yourself and you want to be treated with respect. And so if you're with a person that you realize is not treating you respectfully, or who's making you feel badly about yourself, making you feel that you're incompetent or not very smart or not pretty enough, or you have no taste in how to dress, whatever it is that this person's bringing up, if it's not helping you grow and it's just a constant irritant, and you realize that it's because you've grown that you now realize that you don't have to tolerate somebody like this in your life. Whether it's a boyfriend, a friend, a sister, a mother, a colleague, anybody in your life who is not helping you feel like you're growing and expanding and increasing your joy, if they're just a constant irritant and they're just making you feel badly about yourself, yeah, then it's probably time to walk away from that relationship. It's probably time that you love yourself enough to say, that doesn't feel good, and I don't want it in my experience anymore. So weigh it out. Weigh it out, Melissa, and if you're seeing that, wow, on one hand, she's really helping me grow, then maybe you just learn those lessons and grow and stay in the friendship. But if you realize that she truly has become toxic because you are more self-loving now, you realize you deserve a kind friend who helps you feel joy, then I totally cheer you on and say, yep, walk away from that friendship because it isn't serving you well. All right, my friends, that is the end of Nothing But Paula. That was the title of our show today. And it was so much fun getting to catch up. We caught up with Carson. I got to catch you up on a couple of our former stories that have had some interesting developments. And I'm always delighted to have you here with me here on Change It Up Radio. So thank you for being with us. Remember, you can hear us in San Diego on AM 1170, The Answer, or FM 96.1 at 9 o'clock on Sunday evenings. And we are on iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, and every major podcast platform. So if you're looking for Change It Up Radio, just ask Alexa or ask Siri. They can all find us. Thanks for being with us, and I look so forward to seeing you again next week here on Change It Up Radio. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
And to my Facebook live stream viewers, I just want to say thank you so much for being with us again. And join us next week at the same time, noon on Tuesday. And we'll be checking in with Carson Caldwell to find out where in the country is Carson. All right. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.